Shalom. Grand risings to you. Oh, we back. Oh, you thought that I was going to walk out on you and not come back. You thought that we could hit some rocky, bumpy roads and I wouldn't come back. You see, a lot of people fail to understand the meaning truly of the application of what we mean when we say unconditional. A lot of you all think that unconditional means no conditions are placed on you while you place conditions on everybody else. You talk about you don't think that you need to have anything withheld from you just because of who you are. You think that you deserve certain things just because of the people who are in your bloodline, though you did nothing to deserve them. But the minute someone places those same requirements on you, you got all kind of conditions. You're not going to do this until they do this. You're not going to say this before they say this. You're not going to give this until someone does this. Those are conditions. So don't sit around and expect someone to love you unconditionally, to respect you unconditionally, to lift you up unconditionally, and support you unconditionally when you're sitting around putting conditions on everybody else. Because as I've taught you before, you will reap what you have sown. I don't know who I'm talking to this morning on my morning mental, but I know one thing. Whatever you're doing right now, wherever you are in life right now, unless it is a lesson that has been sent down from the Most High to shape you, you are the victim of your own circumstances. Now live with that. When you want your life to be better, you will treat other people better. When you want to know why life is knocking you all around and got you all up on the ropes and you can't breathe because the blows is coming in so fast, you stop and think about the energy that you're putting out. Because whatever energy you put out, I guarantee you, you're going to get that same energy back. You might not get it today. You might not get it next week. You might not get it for 6 months. Hell, some of y'all might not get it for 7 years. You know why? Because sometimes to drag you to the top, to throw you off, takes a while. Pride always precedes the fall. So when you start getting full of yourself, or you proud of that money you made, or you proud of your job or that education, but that's what you proud of. You're not proud of the Most High for even putting your raggedy ass down here so that you could do anything to start with, when you're not proud of the fact that you didn't have to wake up this morning. There's a lot of people that didn't wake up this morning. There's people that woke up that don't know their names no more, don't have 10 toes, 10 hands no more. There's people out here who got one eye working, a lung done collapsed. There's people out here who wish that they could do what you're doing right now. But you thought you did all of that. I'm on my morning mental, and I'm back for part 2 because I got some good news and some bad news. And the good news, as I've told you before, is you are still a child of the Most High. And the good news is that wherever you are is exactly where you're supposed to be for the development of your soul. But y'all ain't come to hear that. But somebody needs a word to get them going this morning. Somebody needs to know that they're not crazy. Everybody else is this morning. I lay here morning after morning and tell y'all this, and I sound like, as the OGs would say, a broken record, because it goes in one ear and out the other. So I got some good news and some bad news for you. Now let's get into where I left off, as I was telling y'all about this young man who was a champion. Yeah, he was a champion. But he messed around and violated his covenant. He cheated on his wife. Now that should have been a personal issue between him, his wife, and the Creator. But because we have turned into a bunch of flesh consumed judgmental assholes. We actually believe we have power over people we didn't create. We actually act like that we can speak a word and that it will come back to us with the accomplishment of whatever we have wished, when all we have seen is that our words hold no power. They're just an opinion. And the only power that an opinion has is what the other person gives it. If somebody says they don't like the way you walk, don't like the way you talk, don't like the way you dress, don't like the way you cook, don't like the way that you perform in the bedroom, don't like the way that you handle your money, don't like the way you talk to people. If they say that, it means nothing. It's how you respond to it. It's how much energy you give it. People always ask me, why don't you respond to your critics? Why should I? I don't respect them, nor do I respect what they say. I don't give them any energy. They didn't bring me in this world, and they're not going to take me out of this world. I don't see a bill coming to my house with their name on it. They ain't never put gas in my car, food in my mouth, or anything. So why should I worry about some people who came out or came in this world the same way I did and are going to leave the same way? Can they rise from the dead and walk around after something happens to them? Can they make the earth stop and the sun not move in the sky? Can they reach into and teach me these lessons that come from the Most High? I do you one better than that. Can they accelerate the scriptures and move us through Revelations 13, 14, the seven seals, the seven bowls, the judgment, and bring down the New Jerusalem? Can they do that? Because if they can't do that, they can get the hell out of my face. That's why I don't give them the energy. And you shouldn't either. But you do. All of you do. And you sit there and you act like someone has that power over you. So the bad news, as we're going to get into it, this young man, even though he made a personal mistake within his personal relationship, which should have been personal, instead found himself having to apologize to his whole country and lose his championship and have to step away from his accomplishments, all because of the opinions of an entire nation. When the truth of the matter is, nations don't marry you. The Creator does. And I use that as an example because the bad news is a lot of you all are giving power to each other over things that they have no power over. And you're letting them pollute your mind. You're letting them push you back into a place of darkness. You're letting them stimulate your fear. You're letting them stimulate all of the old demons that have kept us captive as black people for over 400 years, because I am the one who coined the phrase, you are comfortable in your captivity. I am the one who told you this is a game of chess, not checkers. And I am the one who told you that you belong to the Creator, and he, like a chess piece, he has called for us to move. He has called for us to unite. Jay didn't call for you to move. Jay didn't call for you to unite. Jay didn't tell you that you need to form a backbone that we can fight back. Only thing Jay did was walk out what the Creator said. And for some of you all to be so short-sighted and so emotion-filled, which is nothing more than flesh, nothing that comes from your flesh is ever going to be good. Everything that comes from your soul is going to determine your final disposition in Sheol. So don't sit there in your emotions, which will perish when you do too, and leave you naked and exposed and your soul vulnerable. Don't sit there and blame nobody else but yourself, because your life was supposed to be the classroom to give you the wisdom so you wouldn't end up in that situation. Wisdom comes from experience. Wisdom is accumulated over time. That's why they tell you respect your elders. You ain't got to love them. You ain't got to like them. Hell, you can lump them. At the end of the day, you will respect them, because just like the party, you came late. We've been here. You just showed up. We've been here. Matter of fact, some of y'all came when the party was almost over. And you don't respect the fact that the person whose house it is the person who's the DJ, the person who fixed the food, the people who put the chairs out, the people working the parking lot, the people, all these people put in work before you got here. And all you did was slid your ass up in here talking about, ooh, this nice, but then had the nerve to complain about the food, complained about the bartenders, complained about having to pay for parking, complained about everything that you had nothing to do with. And then on top of that, you left early. You didn't hang around to help clean up. You didn't help pack up nothing. You didn't see if anybody needed a ride. You didn't find out if somebody might be drunk driving. You didn't give a damn about nobody but yourself. And then got the nerve to open your mouth like your opinion has power. Let me say that again. You act like your opinion has power. Newsflash. Your opinion has no power at all. The only power your opinion has is the person that you're opinionating about giving you the power. I think I just taught somebody something up in here. So the bad news this morning is that we need less opinions operating in fake power and more power people exercising the power to move us forward. And I myself am just watching. And all weekend, we've been investigating. Y'all have no idea how much I know about you now. I know who's phony. I know who's two-faced. I know who's fake. I know who has an ulterior motive. I know who's a threat. I know who's a coward. I know who's a liar. I know who, now let me flip the script. I know who's dedicated. I know who's truthful. I know who has been praying and their prayers have been answered. I know who is in it to win it, even if they got to spin it to win it. I know that for a fact. So just because I don't say anything to you does not mean that I am not fully aware of who you are. And if you remain in my presence too much longer, you're going to find out that chess game that I play it very well against people who think that they're smarter than me, yet still are dumb enough to come around me. I will set your ass smooth up and get you when you least expect it. I'm only talking to my brothers and sisters right now, because anyone else that's non-melanated, you're not even a factor. That's why I just look at you and be like, y'all go there and help them people out, because they actually think they got some power over here. But until we can stop playing these petty games against each other, we will never rise to the powerful people that we were predicted to be. As a matter of fact, a lot of y'all don't realize that prior planning prevents piss poor performance. But right now, my people are paternalistically acting pathetic in their pity party that they're doing right now. See, I just peed all over your whole philosophy and you can't get a towel to wipe it up. Can I talk? You know, it says right here in the book, y'all, man, I'm going to read to you because y'all think I be just making this up. It says right here, let me read the book to you. It says, the Spirit clearly says that in the latter times, some will abandon the faith and follow deceiving spirits and things taught by demons. Deceiving spirits and demons. Teaching. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't tell y'all what scripture that was. That's 1 Timothy 4:1 in case you want to go and validate what I'm telling you. Let me give this again. I see somebody asking me. I'm going to say it one more time. If you are following any page on Instagram that says Grandmaster Jay, you're a goddamn fool. That ain't me. If you're following any page that says Grandmaster Jay and they're asking you for money, they're asking you for your information, that ain't me. You are playing into the hands of the enemy. You are giving yourself away like a cheese plate being passed around a party. You don't know it. The only place that you're going to find the real is right here. And anybody over this weekend, or quite a few people who did not realize that they were conversing with the real, got a personal visit from me. They know now. And what I'm telling you is this mission that we're on, since we done came out the gate swinging, I got some good news And I got some bad news. The good news, again, I got to go back to the good news, is that you are not dealing with anything in your life right now that is not designed to prepare you for what's coming. I know somebody out there may have lost a loved one and they're like, why did this happen to me? And they're wondering, how do I make it through this? Why? And they're questioning the creator. Why would you do this to me? The truth of the matter is, if you've never been in a war and you don't know what it feels like to win or lose, then how can you be prepared for a bigger battle that is coming your way? He has to take you some places sometimes, not to keep you there, but to develop you. For instance, whenever we're making steel, iron, concrete, we take all the ingredients, which mean nothing, mix them all up together, still don't mean nothing. But then we got to put them in the oven to a temperature that you don't normally encounter. Turn it all the way up. And then those ingredients work together and they form steel, reinforced concrete. When it comes off and it cool off, it's now ready for something much more stronger. So if you are in the valley right now, and I know some people are there this morning, be of good cheer, because what's happening to you is designed to develop you while comforting you at the same time. He won't bring you to it unless he's going to bring you through it. How many times you done went through something in life and you thought this was it? I can't make it. Don't know why is this happening to me? And then 5 years later, you're looking back laughing on that whole episode because things are all right now. You never know what's coming around the corner. Never you, the people next to you. And let me explain something else that I had to break off to some people. Y'all stop with the witchcraft. Stop running around practicing witchcraft that was taught to us by the fallen angels and the Nephilim. Some of you all are doing things that you think, well, we've always done that. Did you ever stop to consider where it came from? Especially when you can't find it anywhere in Yah's word. I've searched the scriptures from Genesis to Revelation. I've searched the apocryphal books. I've searched Egyptian books. I can't find nowhere in there where it talks about the reading of cards, the discerning of spirits through smoke, weed. That is witchcraft taught to us by Azazel. You're supposed to know that by now, students of the Most High. Astronomy and astrology was the science of ancient Egypt. It was not some mystical determination where you can read the skies and tell somebody what's going to happen tomorrow. Y'all stop with that foolishness. However, wherever you are right now, especially if you're being tried in a tribulation, rest assured, if you're a child of the Most High, he puts you there and he's leading you there to develop you. And when you come out of the other side, you'll be much stronger than you are right now. You have my sympathies and my prayers while you're there. And we're waiting on you to come out of the valley and rejoin us on the mountaintop and take your rightful seat with your brothers and your sisters. Because we got some good news this morning and we got some bad news. I'm on my morning mental. Yes, I am. I'm on my morning mental. If it goes on further to say, I'm going to jump back in the book one more time because this is how you should be starting your morning, giving you something to think about. I'm not going to say something that you're going to like right now. I'm going to say something that's going to indict a lot of us. Here it goes. It goes like this. It says, but mark this, there will be terrible times in the last days. People will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, beautiful, proud, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, without love, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not lovers of good, treacherous, rash, conceited, lovers of pleasure, rather than lovers of the Most High. And for those of y'all that want to go and check that out, you can find that in 2 Timothy also. Listen, the point I'm making is this, people. We are entering into a very, very interesting time, especially in the next few weeks. I can't predict what's going to happen, but I tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to let someone pigeonhole me or my people into a place that we never intended to go. Block us into something that forces us to do something that was never on our radar. I want you all to realize, and I'm going to say this publicly, neither myself nor any member of the Black militia, nor anybody that we associate with, has any desires, is making any plans, or having any deep discussions about what we're going to do on election day, as if we're going to break all kind of laws like we stupid. Y'all stop with that foolishness. It is against the law for you to go and post up at a voting place with a semi-automatic weapon. And some of my own people are so stupid that you actually are making plans thinking, well, we can go down there and do something like that. Yeah, and I'm going to sit there and watch them haul your dumb ass off to jail. Stop falling for the bait. Don't y'all remember when I taught you about bait? You all are so easily baited by words, but then respond by a lack of action or respond with the wrong type of action. You don't know how to just sit and watch your enemies fail. Let me tell y'all something. Ever since Brunswick, Georgia, ever since Stone Mountain, Georgia, ever since Louisville, Kentucky, ever since Lafayette, Louisiana, we have heard nothing but a steady stream of threats. That's it. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to come do this to y'all. We're going to show up and do this to y'all. We've heard nothing but an endless line of threat after threat after threat after threat after threat. And not one of them has been delivered on. As a matter of fact, they didn't even show up to make good on the threat. Oh, we bring in 33,000, or we get all of us need to get together and get down here to fight the black man. And nobody of substance showed up. When are you all going to stop falling and responding to threats? It's the same thing here, people. They want you to get caught up in the ritual. They trying to lift up something that we shouldn't even be paying attention to. And a lot of y'all, just like a fly to the light, a moth to the flame, you're falling for it. And you're going right to it. You don't have to agree with me, but when someone is telling you something for your own good, just because you know they're right, y'all choose to adopt the attitude. That's childish. You cannot walk in this world as a nation of children. We are men and women. We have a responsibility to the children. We have a responsibility for the procreation and the existence and the elevation of our race. But y'all ain't trying to hear that this morning. I think I'm wasting my breath out here. But I told y'all we in this relationship, even though some of y'all's the definition of a relationship is not always interpreted the same. Some of y'all are single and you're just flirting with this relationship. You come and you go as you please. You're not committed. You go whichever way the wind blow. If somebody else come out and they say something that you like, you over there. I come out and say something you like, you over here. Somebody up the street say something, you up there. You go wherever the wind blows. I just hope the wind blows you away because we don't need that. And then we got some of y'all that you're not trying to change anything. You're over here trying to find a way to dismantle something that threatens your comfortable captivity so that you feel like you're doing something right. You're walking around with your chest stuck out with the accolades talking about what you've done when our people have not advanced. Don't you know we're in a worse shape today than we was back when they first freed us as slaves? Don't you know there's more brothers and sisters behind bars in cages than there was people who were actually in slavery? Don't you know that because of the quarantine, black people on a whole, in spite of what the Edomite is telling you, we're doing worse than we ever have in the last 30, 40, 50, 60 years? Don't you know that around the world, people that look like me and you are having bigger problems than what you're dealing with in the United States? Are you aware of what's going on in Nigeria right now? Do you know what SARS is? Are you familiar with what's going on in Namibia right now? Do you know what's happening with the women over there? Are you aware of what's happening in the Congo right now? Or are you only concerned with your block that you don't own, in a city that you didn't build or own, on land that you don't own, getting something that they give you that you have to give a little bit back, which ain't yours to start with, living in a freedom that can be taken away from you because somebody else decided that you broke their laws, but you're so free. You ain't free at all. You are a comfortable inhabitant in an apartment building that you don't own. Matter of fact, you live in an apartment building that came fully furnished. You don't even own the furniture. You can pay for it to rent it, but it ain't yours. And now that someone has come along and is talking about having our own land, having our own government, having our own money, having our own culture, having our own military, having everything that is ours so that we can determine our own destiny. Some of you all are in this like you're single. You're not committed. It sounds good, but you're just like the people that come to the party. You just want somebody else to do all the heavy lifting so you can pull your ass up talking about, I'm ready. I guarantee you're not going to you're not ready to shed a drop of blood for reparations, but you're going to be the first one to fill out the paperwork talking about, I'm a descendant of slavery, where my check. I'm sorry, but the black race can no longer afford you. Y'all going to have to put your money where your mouth is and stop sitting around listening to all of these puppets. Let me go in real quick. I wasn't even going to do this, but I'm about sick of this shit. I'm gonna have to go ahead and say it. Here goes some bad news for you. Look, I remember a time, and triple OGs get with me. I remember when there used to be segregated everything. I remember when there was black radio and white radio. There was black radio and white radio. You went on the black radio station to hear the black songs. You went on the white radio station to hear whatever the fuck that was. There was no such thing as crossover. That did not exist. We had our music, but we also had our own news. Two people could see the same incident, and you could go turn on your TV, because we only had 3 channels back then. Y'all remember that shit? Y'all remember, look, I'm tripping now. Y'all remember, here come the comedy. Y'all remember the TV when you only had the 3 networks and then you had the PBS? Y'all remember that? And y'all the young people don't know nothing about this, but there used to be this dial. You had 2 dials on your TV. You had the one where you could turn the channel to pick up the regular major networks. But if you wanted to really get crazy, you could go to the UHF where you could turn the dial and they had all these numbers and there was nothing on it, but you would find PBS, right? You would find PBS, and that's where you found the educational stuff. But it was never on the main network, where it was the same way for our news. The same incident will be reported 2 different ways, from the black press and from the white press. And you knew better than to believe the white press if you were black, and you knew better than to believe the black press if you was white. When we lost BET, when Bob Johnson sold BET to Viacom, which is a Jewish organization, they're a Jewish entertainment monster, giant. That's what they are. Y'all have to give them credit. They own everything. And that's not being stereotypical. It's true. Look at Viacom. Viacom owns a lot of the channels that you watch. When Bob Johnson got rid of BET, he also got rid of the last vestiges of our own black news network. And all those black journalists that had done such a great job at letting us know from our perspective what was going on in our world, they went away. So now we were forced to rely on white media. And that's where the fuckery began, because then certain stories weren't reported, or they were reported with a slant, or they were just straight outright lies. People would tell me, well, what are you talking about, Jay? We have black media. Do we? Where is black media? You mean black people who work for white corporations, who can only say what they're allowed to say. As long as they shucking and jiving and telling jokes and re-emphasizing a lot of those old Negro stereotypes, them people let them stay on the air all day. And even if they do decide to do some type of investigative journalism or some type of investigative reporting, they have to do it within certain guidelines, because they don't want them to inspire the people or cause an uprising or cause people to find out that there's something happened that they might really want to do something about. So I say to all black media, I am ashamed of you. I really am. And I'm not going to say it anymore. We wouldn't know about the civil rights movement in its full glory if it wasn't for black media reporting it. You see, if you go back and you watch videos of Malcolm X when he went to Berkeley, if you go back and look at the interview that they did with Martin Luther King right before they killed him, if you go back and look at any of the interviews with Stokely or Bobby Seals or any of these folks, you will always find out that it was black folks that interviewed them. But when they went to interview with the white folks, they wasn't there to try to uplift them and try to figure out what they could do to move their message. They tried to tear it down. They tried to pick it apart. They wanted to be nosy about it so they could find a way to infiltrate them and destroy them. And it worked. And the only thing that we had as our defense was black media. We don't have black media right now. Ask yourself this question. NFAC and everything that they've done is historical. Why haven't you heard it talked about on the Breakfast Club? You know, besides being embedded in a joke, when has D.L. Hughley actually, so I'm going to sit down with these folks and try to figure out, instead of just buying into what your handlers let you talk about, I'm going to call you out. And everyone who claims that they're in the conscious community that has not sat down at a collective table and figured out how we can all come together and incorporate the militant side into the mystical side so that we can move our side over to the other side, you're just as guilty too, because a lot of you have found out that it has exposed you as the do-nothing people that you are. You're great orators and you're great interpreters of what is written. But as far as moving the pieces down, you have disagreements amongst yourselves, so you do nothing. And then the rest of you that sit back and claim that I'm a member of this and claim I'm a member of that, rather than claiming that you're a member of the United Black Comedic Nation that you are. And then you got a whole nother group that's so confused they can't even follow your lead. And those are the people that did not ask to be born biracial, but they still are brothers and sisters, and we have to embrace them. We so non-trusting that as soon as we see somebody who might look like that he white, we can't deal with him, rather than doing the investigation and finding out truly who they are on the inside. We leave them spinning in space. Listen, last time I checked, when I looked on an application, it has what nationality or what race do you proclaim? You see black, white, blah, blah, blah. You never see biracial. They are forced to choose. And because we can't unite and get together, in spite of all of our differences of opinions and philosophy, and come with a united message for our people remain fragmented, lost, spinning in space, while our enemies sit back laughing their ass off, plotting on our own demise. That's the bad news. The good news is, until we fix all of that, there is none. Now, I don't talk to y'all till I'm blue in the face, but I'm still black. Now, I done told y'all some of these things time and time again. But I have come to learn that a lot of you all simply believe that you can cruise your way through this on autopilot and wait for someone. Y'all looking for somebody to lift you up by your bootstraps, when all we got to do is collectively join arms and all bend down and pick ourselves up. $1.3 trillion last year. And what have we done collectively as a race with that money? Not a damn thing. Don't get me wrong. All of y'all feel proud about yourself. Yes, you do. All of y'all act like, look, I got my shit together. I don't care about nobody else. I had a conversation with somebody and I asked them, have you ever considered the black militia? And they said, no. I said, do you own a weapon? They said, no. I said, so what happens if something happens to you? Well, you know, you're going to be a victim. That's what. Then they said, well, you're right. Maybe I need to get a weapon. And I said, okay, so if you get a weapon, would you get that weapon to defend just yourself, or would you use that to defend your people? Now, I ain't worried about them. I'm just worried about myself. Really. So what are you going to do if the white people decide to get in the street and just start busting black people in their ass? Innocent black people who had nothing to do with whatever these people are mad about. You know, that has happened in history a number of times. Go back and research the Atlanta riots when they walked down the street and killed innocent black people over some shit that they knew nothing about. You think they won't do that again? And I said to this person, you mean to tell me, what if they do that? What are you going to do then? And they stared at me. You see, that right there is what I'm talking about. High personal esteem, low racial esteem. I just stabbed you in your heart and you didn't even feel it. So I got some good news and I got some bad news. Again, here comes some bad news. The bad news is we're about to start planning for the Million Guns Formation for the spring of 2021. 1,000,000 legal weapons in one place to send a statement to the world. Yet already I'm watching people make excuses, try to ease out, try to slide out, try to make excuses why we can't do it, why we shouldn't do it. Really sad to say that I'm seeing people who are not black folks who are reaching out saying, I'd have a place where y'all can do it. Or saying, you can come up on our reservation and do it. Or say, you can come to our country and do it. Yet I'm seeing this group of people here in the United States who doesn't realize you're in the best position of any group of black people on the planet to make change, stumbling and bumbling over themselves because they can't get over themselves, because they've been brainwashed to try to be like anybody but themselves. We're the only group that thinks that it's better when you move away from your own people. You act like you accomplished something. Then you're the first one on the phone. I can't believe they put go home, blah, blah, blah on my house. Then go home. Stop being afraid of your own people. Stop being afraid to do business with your own people. Stop being afraid to praise your own people without something in return. Learn to do things unconditionally. You know, I remember there was a time before the quarantine. Oh, y'all remember before the quarantine. Before coronavirus showed up. Before any of that happened. Y'all remember the world before that? Oh, we was out and about. We was bubbling and clubbing. Okay? We was, everybody was hustling. Remember that? Everybody was on their grind. Everybody was chasing the bag. Everything was all good and fun, wasn't it? And then things changed. Everything got shut down. Now we back out here in the wilderness. Times are different. It's every man for himself. And what we're finding out was very interesting is some people have become more unified and they've strengthened their unity, even if it's at the expense of us, while a lot of us have done nothing but become less unified. Nothing blows my mind than to have to look at the look on people's faces when they say, look at them black people over there attacking each other. That blows my mind because they are having a ball watching us fall. We got to reverse that. Don't you know that $1.3 trillion makes us one of the most wealthiest nations in the world? I'm not talking about the United States. I'm talking about black people in America collectively. You are a nation within a nation with a gross national product that's bigger than some countries, but you don't wield it that way. And we're going to have to change that. You've got to start somewhere, my peoples, because if you don't, you're going to find out that these conditions, well, I'm not going to do it unless they join my faith. I'm not going to do it unless they acknowledge something that, that y'all always got some crazy ass conditions. Then most of you will say, I'm just not going to do it because I don't believe. And if you don't believe, now you should understand how when they sent the Messiah, he got crucified, hung from a tree. Why? Because nobody believed when they should have. Even after everything he showed them, they still didn't believe. And a lot of you all still suffering from post-traumatic slave disorder. And the rest of you all suffering from, well, I did immigrate, but I'm not a descendant of the ADOS, so I don't believe in reparations. And then you got the other ones that say, well, I don't know who I belong to because ain't nobody really never taught me about who I am, so I'm not going to get involved. And then you got the other ones who are still brainwashed that, well, we just slaves and we always been, and we should stay in our position and leave these good white folks alone because they know what's best for us. Y'all don't believe either. but to the believers, to those that have had enough, to those that have said, you know what? I'm not putting up with this no more. I'm ready to go. To those people who are saying that, yeah, I done been out there on the front lines. I ain't fired a shot yet because ain't nobody ever shot at us. For those people who have said that, you know what, I've been waiting for this all my life and I'm going to do whatever I can to make a difference. If I can't pick up a gun, I'm going to pick up a pen. If I can't drop knowledge, I'm going to drop money. If I can't drop money, I'm going to drop a sign. If I can't, I'm going to do something. But I'm not going to sit back and just criticize when I ain't done a damn thing. I want to send a big shout out to all the members of the NFAC. And I'm going to give you some bad news. If you are a member of the NFAC and you are still on social media bragging about and talking about being in the NFAC, you are now squarely in the sights of the federal government. Counterterrorism and dangerous groups, which is a department on this platform and is a department at Facebook, now has the ability, like a no-knock warrant, to come into your private chats, come into your private broadcasts, come into your private groups, capture and record everything you say, and then track down your phone through your IP address and what we call whitelist you and know who you are. You are doing yourself a disservice. Y'all so flashy, always want to brag, always want to show off. Stop showing the enemy what you have. Stop telling them where you are. Stop identifying yourself. This is not a specialized and advertised operation. This is an exercise on keeping your mouth shut and being a silent enemy and being a silent adversary and being a silent threat. You know why you don't know who the members of the Ku Klux Klan are anymore? You can guess all you want, because back in the day, they used to wear sheets and hoods on their head, and we knew who they was. But they don't do that no more. They replaced that with Brooks Brothers suits and you know what I'm saying, and police uniforms and so forth like that. So you don't know who they are. But you black folks, in your desire to be accepted, in your desire to feel important, in your desire to let everybody know who you are telling the enemy, not telling each other, you're telling the enemy everything. I'm going to see exactly what everyone's made of when I ban all NFAC members from social media. And some of y'all are so addicted to being accepted. Some of y'all are so addicted to playing out everything you do in front of the slave master that you would rather say, oh, I can't do that. But then you just showed us that your commitment to the liberation of our people is conditional, and conditional won't work this time. So I hope you stay tuned and I hope you stay close, because this time when I walk away, I won't come back, and I'm going to go with the goers. I know it sounds harsh, but don't feel bad. I'm pretty sure there's enough brothers and sisters out there running a mouth right now, claiming they can do what we've done, claiming they can deliver what they haven't delivered yet, claiming that they know exactly what y'all's intentions are, even though they only focus on one part of the scripture. Only if you join their particular point of view. Don't worry, they'll be there to hold your hand and y'all can ride off the waterfall together. That's my word to somebody this morning. There's always good news and bad news. And the good news is you are a child of the Most High and you are being developed. The good news is no matter where you are in life, if you down in the valleys, persevere, hold on. We still here waiting on you. We still your brothers and your sisters. We supposed to be leaning and depending on each other, not talking about each other. They don't have to worry about letting the slaves out of the bowels of the slave ship. They was, but then they heard y'all was down there fighting amongst yourselves. So they just left the door shut. That's the good news. Yah still has his hand on you. Your problem is you don't have your hand on him. You got your hands on each other. Join me tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, on the dot. as we resume the teaching in the series, The Nephilim, the Pyramid of the Apocalypse. If you've been joining me for these teachings already, I'm doing an 8-part series on the Nephilim and the Pyramid of the Apocalypse. And I'm going to let you know now, don't show up in your feelings because your theology will be shattered. You have this coming. Those who thirst for knowledge, let them be forward and present. Let fools find themselves somewhere else. 9 o'clock tonight as we move into part 3. Now, y'all know, and I'm going to tell you, it's going to be brutal. If you have a recording device, if you have a way to record this class, I advise you to do it because they will destroy it before we even get done. They've done it before. For those of y'all who didn't know, we did recover part 2 of Can I Have Your Autograph? It is available on my YouTube channel. And before I go, I'm going to say this one last time. There are no other pages on Instagram or Facebook under the title of the Grandmaster J, Official Grandmaster J, Official NFAC, NFAC. Anything with my name, NFAC, is a fake. And if you sitting there talking to whoever's on the other side of that thinking it's me, you a goddamn fool. And if you're giving money to these motherfuckers, you really a goddamn fool. But then again, it is written, a fool and his money will always part, and a sucker is born every minute. You want to give some money, then go on over to blacknfac.com. You had the class on the 55K militia that we're building. These brothers and sisters, you want to support, then go on over there and support then. That's what you do. I'm not involved in that either. You want to get one of the shirts or the hoodies, then you go to Article, the black family with the business that we're letting handle this, because that whole family is a black business. But you keep sitting your ass up on here and keep thinking that these people that's popping up with these fake ass profiles is me because they done copied some pictures from my profile. You can't be that dumb. But some of y'all never cease to amaze me, and I don't have time for you anymore. As far as the rest of you that we know are traitors and fakes, the rest of you who like to play victim to circumstances that you created, let me help you out. 31 Charlie, 42 Romeo, 42 Alpha, 75 Bravo, 19 Delta. I held multiple MOSs. And I was never a goddamn supply sergeant. Don't know shit about it. So if you're going to talk about something, understand that I understand. Discipline, command and structure, and the ability to follow instructions without questioning or debating. And if you don't have those qualities, then you're not fit for the black militia. You might be fit to be a spectator or something else. But if you can't abide by those, if you don't know how to move as a unit, if you don't know how to be a team player, if you don't know how to be in the proper uniform, if you don't know how to go through the proper training, if you don't know how to follow leadership that's appointed over you, don't you know that the first tenet of a good leader is being able to follow? If you don't know how, then you need to go find somewhere else to do your thing, because your thing is not with us, it's with you. And on that note, my brothers and my sisters, y'all have a prosperous day. And remember, all love is not cute and cuddly. Sometimes love is tough, as long as it's in love. So let it be written. So let it be done. I bid you a shalom. I'll see you tonight on Facts Over Feelings.